Hello everyone, it's been a while since I last published something on YouTube. Mainly I was struggling with some things, so it's been a month essentially. But I've been reading, I've kept my reading habits the same as before, and I've actually read 6 books in the month of February. Most of them were actually quite good. Only one book I didn't really care for last month actually. But yeah, I've not been quite around YouTube for the last month. Sorry about this. I was having some issues. I was struggling with some things, and I just wanted to, give the best that I could. So I decided to just wait a bit before doing another video. So here we are. I'm just going to talk about the month of February. There's a lot of review that I want to do from the books that I read in February because most of them, as I said, were actually quite good, and most of them are the best that I've read so far. Actually, for the channel, because these are the books that I remember most and from which I took some notes and stuff like that. So, starting off the month of February, I finished reading Chaos and Orders. So, book number 4 in the Gap Cycle by Stephen R. Donaldson. I really enjoyed this book. I really need to do a review about this series because this is the best series I've read. Not necessarily the best, but one of the best series I've ever read, and it's just really cool. And that book was just amazing, actually. Then I read The Moonchild by Kenneth McKenney. I really enjoyed the book. It's just quite uneven. The second half or so of the book was not the same as the first, and you have that discrepancy within the book that I didn't really liked, but I really enjoyed the book still because it's a cool story that I really enjoyed. I might read more by this author just because I really enjoyed this book, even though it was, as I said, uneven throughout the book. Then I read This Day All Gods Die, book number 5 in the Gap Cycle by Stephen R. Donaldson once again. So, what a finale this is! It's just an amazing book. I really, once again, liked this series in its entirety. It's just such an amazing and also like the first book in the series is called The Real Story, so you kind of figured, yeah, I know what the story is about. I know what really happened and all these things, but you don't, until the end. And book number 5 should have been called The Real Story because this is where you really understand what the story was all about, and you see everything at their face value. So what they were trying to do, everybody, their plot, subplotting and everything comes really into place in that final book, and it's just grandiose. It's so good. I really need to do a review about this series because this is the best. As I said, one of the best series I've read so far, actually. And I'm really interested to see other books by this author, so by Mr. Stephen R. Donaldson, just because I really enjoyed this series. I think that I should like other stuff he's written, so I might read. Not I might. I'm going to read the Thomas Covenant at some point, maybe this year. I don't know. Let me know if I should in the comment down below. Then after This Day All Gods Die, I read Last Arguments of Kings, book number 3 in the First Law series. I really, once again, enjoyed that series. It's such a good ending, such a cool ending. It comes full circle with almost every characters. It's just, where this one character, I think the last chapter is called The Beginning or something like this. And you're seeing this character, and almost as it started from the start, from the first book. And I just, yeah, I don't mind it being opened. I could still come back to this world because I really enjoyed being in this world. If I come back to the first law, though, I'm not going to listen to it. I'm going to read it because I want to better immerse myself in the world. I feel like the only downside I have with these books was that it was on Audible instead of, physical format. I think I'll read these books again, physical and not listening to them. And I'm going to come back to that world later on, maybe sooner. I don't know. Once again, let me know down in the comments, maybe what book I should read in the First Law world now that I finished the main trilogy, or if I should firstly just do myself a service and just read the books that I've listened to. Let me know. Then after this, I've read the best book so far by James Herbert, The Magic Cottage. I really enjoyed this book. It's a slower pace than other books I've read from this author, but still, I really enjoyed it, mainly because it's supernatural. I'm saying it's a slower pace, but like the couple comes into this house like in page 15 or 20, so it's not that slow of a pace because it begins right where it should, like them moving in the cottage. I really liked this book. Once again, it's just this author is so amazing. I mean, every books I've read by James Herbert so far has been just nothing short but amazing. This guy knows how to write. I'm lacking words. I need to do a full review about this book because, yeah, it's my James Herbert favorite so far. I really need to talk more about this book, actually. Then the last book I read in the month of February was Acceptance by James VanDerMeer. This is the underwhelming book in the month, unfortunately. I'm saying underwhelming mainly because book number 1 was really good. Book number 2 wasn't as good as book number 1, but it was still decent. I had my problems with book number 2, but at least the ending was good. But here in book number 3 was just not, didn't really cut it for me, unfortunately. It's I didn't care what was happening to all our main characters that we were seeing in book 1 and 2, mainly because it's slightly too long, and I feel like it could have been shorter. There are some elements that could have been cut in the editing. It's just, yeah, these are the main problems I have with it. It exists. It was fine, but didn't really catch my attention. So if you want to read the Southern Reach trilogy, I would recommend just sticking with book number 1, which is Annihilation, and maybe watching the movie if you want to. If you like the first book and you want to see the movie, watch the movie. It's actually really good, and book number 1 was good also, but book 2 and 3 unfortunately weren't this good. Onto my favorite book and my least favorite book. Let's start with least favorite because I think it's obvious that it's Acceptance by Jeff VanDerMeer, so book 3 in the Southern Reach trilogy again. It's just, yeah, a bit underwhelming. I've said it all, unfortunately. But book of the month, it's a tie, I think. Mainly This Day All Gods Die and Magic Cottage by James Herbert. Mainly Magic Cottage. This is my favorite James Herbert book so far, and it's really amazing. If you like supernatural horror, go read it. If you like gothic horror, you'll like it also because it has both these things with the James Herbert way of writing. It's just, yeah, it's amazing. He leaves stuff to your imagination. You have to imagine some stuff out, and it's just gorgeous. It's well written. I like his prose. I like his style. Go read this book. It's actually very great. And This Day All Gods Die, mainly because this is one of my favorite series so far. And what a way to end such a perfect series with this incredible book. The ending is just truly amazing. You don't see it coming. It's just all in your face, and yeah, you get to know what the real story actually was. So it works on so many levels. It has all these plots and subplots inside the book that are revealed to you. It's just such an amazing read, an amazing book once again. So as to what's next, so right now I'm reading and right now the book that I'm currently reading is The Darkness That Comes Before by R. Scott Baker, part of the second Apocalypse series. So the first trilogy is called Prince of Nothing, and the second series is called The Aspect Emperor. Sorry, I was struggling with the name, but right now I'm reading The Darkness That Comes Before. I actually started reading this series a while ago, before I even started this channel. I stopped the series mainly because I was doing this channel thingy. That's the only reason why I stopped. I actually enjoyed it when I started it 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago actually. But I'm starting it again because I want to read it actually, because as I said, I liked it. Reading the first book the second time is actually really cool. I'm picking up on so many things that I didn't quite understood the first time around, that now I'm getting to understand a bit more, what's at stake and all these different things. So I'd recommend, if you've already read the whole trilogy, go back to book number 1 and you'll pick up on so many things like Kellus already knows. Yeah, that's one of the main things that I really liked actually. But what I want to read after this is the Fury series by John Ferris. I really liked the only book that I've read by Mr. Ferris called Nightfall. I really enjoyed. I only read one book by John Ferris at this point, and Nightfall, and I really enjoyed it. Kind of a Halloween type of deal book, but yeah, a bit better in my opinion, just because I'm not a huge Halloween fan. I'm sorry to all Halloween fans out there. I'm not that much of a fan of that, but I really enjoyed Nightfall because, in my opinion, the villain is a bit scarier than Michael Myers. Sorry, I said not Mike Myers. Yeah, funny guy, Canadian. Yeah, love that guy. So yeah, I want to read The Fury, mainly because, as I said, I liked Nightfall, and I'm quite interested in seeing what this author can do. I've bought other books by this author mainly because I want to read more from him, because I really enjoyed, once again, Nightfall. And after this, I don't know at this point if I'll read the other 2 series that I have in my mind, but I'm just gonna talk about them, and feel free to let me know if I should read these series or in what order or whatever. But I want to read The Black Company by Glenn Cook, mainly because I'm a huge Dark Souls fan, and I read, on a Reddit post a while ago that if you like Dark Souls, you should read The Black Company because it has the same elements. And by the way, this was also a recommendation. The second Apocalypse was also a recommendation. If you like Dark Souls, read the second Apocalypse, and I can see why, because it drops you into the story without explaining anything, and just you need to figure stuff out. I really enjoyed that, and I think it's the same thing with The Black Company. So I want to maybe dive into that world later on this year. But I also want to read The Adversary Cycle by F. Paul Wilson. It's kind of a horror story, I've been told, a horror series, but also kind of dark fantasy. But that sums it up. If you follow me on Instagram, right there I've post, once a week. I'm trying now to post a photo every week to better my image composition. I also want to change maybe the format of my YouTube videos. So right now I'm just talking in front of the camera, but I want to try something different. So I might, you might see some things that are slightly different in the weeks, months to come, because as I said, I want to try some different things. That's mainly why also I wasn't there for the last month, because I want to try something new, and we'll see where this goes essentially. That pretty much sums it up, I think. Thank you if you've made it this far in the video. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.